Welcome everyone to the Island Life Podcast, where we journey onto the island of discovery to relive some of the best and worst moments of Survivor. My name is Will, an experienced Survivor fan, 48 seasons deep, and I will be your guide. And joining us on this adventure is our rising Survivor fan with 11 seasons under her belt, Anne.
Hello, we're back.
And we don't have our Survivor newbie this time, but he is going to be the subject of our discussion immediately to start. And Ange, I believe you wanted to lead this topic, so the floor is yours.
Oh yes, I'm excited because last episode we talked about our winner picks, and unfortunately, F wasn't able to say his winner pick, but it's okay, guys. Don't worry, because we're here to say it for Survivor F. Um, I would like to say my picks. I'll remind everybody my picks were it's Angelina and Christian. Those were my two picks that I had for last episode, and I stand by my two picks today. And F actually his picks was B and Jeremy. Those were his two picks, which is exciting because those two are the star of our show these two episodes that we watched.
Indeed. And unfortunately, when you're the star of a Survivor episode, that tends to go one of two ways, either big wins or big losses. And we're here to talk about two huge losses in
Oh,
these two episodes. Uh and it all starts with Jeremy. And we'll get into the start of the episode overall in a second. But part of the reason that F put his faith in Jeremy was his uh coolness under pressure, his self-awareness, his he was able to extend an olive branch to Natalie, kindness of his heart. He was savvy enough to discover the hidden immunity idol that Dan had. Unfortunately, all of that has changed and turned around in this episode, and I regret to announce that Survivor F has lost his first winner pick of the season.
oof, we could not have made this up. I can't believe it.
Disaster.
I was shocked.
Disastrous.
You would think after watching the last several episodes, you would think that Natalie would be an easy one out, gonna go home. Now I'm starting to think that maybe Survivor F should have picked Natalie, as we talked about.
That might be the decision he regrets for a long, long time. But how? How, you might ask? How could this have happened? Let's get into it.
Yeah,
So
I
we
feel
start with
Oh yeah, you go
episode
ahead. Yep.
3. Yeah, sorry, just to start at the beginning.
Mhm.
So we start with episode 3 of this season, and what happened the previous episode was a David tribal council. This was the blind side of Jessica, led by Elizabeth, originally, who was able to rally Larissa, who was the target, rally Gabby, Christian, and eventually Nick. And the 5 of them all vote against the remaining people in Davy, Carl, and B. So those 3 are left on the outs and are left to scramble. And I thought they did a fine job. They were not. We have seen people freak out after being blindsided and like shouting matches start. So none of that. Obviously, I
Yeah.
mean they weren't happy, but
Yeah, everybody was pretty calm, cool, collected, I feel like, and it was funny to see, like, everyone kind of trying to put the blame onto Gabby, and the people that were on the other side was like, "I don't trust Gabby." Gabby, like, I always knew, and then Nick is just like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, it's kinda scary what Gabby does," and there's just Gabby like, "Everybody hates me, I'm gonna cry," and then everything Gabby is afraid of was starting to just tumble down, so it was funny to see that go down, and, we get to see this really, like, emotional moment with Carl, who it feels alone. Ironic because later on he is literally alone in Exile Island, but we'll go to there later. But he is alone because he makes this relationship with Jess, like it's his daughter, and now she's gone. And it kind of made me think of like, although it is a short time for us to see and a short time in that island, these relationships are very true. And it's a very like very sad moment to see Carl like down the dumps, seeing that your number one ally gone, and that you when you get blindsided, you really go from thinking that you know or have control of the game to the very bottom really fast. And I feel like that definitely happened to those that were in the other side of the vote.
Oh yeah, and like this is all playing out days 7, 8, and 9. And it's a small difference, but it is different from the seasons we see now where everything is much faster. There's only 26 total days instead of 39 total days. So there's full days that pass, so there's no challenge or tribal to plan for. So it's just getting to know your tribe, making it more likely that you're gonna build a connection like that where it hurts to see them go. We really only got one scene with them together the last 2 episodes, but,
Yeah.
I mean, she is an early vote out, so that's kinda what they do. If you go out soon, sometimes your edit suffers.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't see a whole lot of Jess and Carl's relationship, but it seems like they had more, and it's, sad to see them go, but then we kinda see, Nick and Christian getting really excited because 'cause they're kinda doing their own thing, and they're controlling the vote of this tribe, and it's interesting because although that they have the Mason-Dixon line, N Nick doesn't work with Gabby. However, Christian's working with Gabby, so it's kinda got this weird dynamic of those 3.
It's interesting, like, does Christian have a preference? Like, does he think it's a three-person alliance? Does he think he's deceiving one or either Gabby or Nick? Or maybe he's just it could just be he has 2 separate alliances. He's gonna keep them separate for now.
I think it's separate. I think it's completely separate, but Christian is closer to Gabby more. I think he that is his priority, and I wonder if that's gonna, like, get him because if Nick finds out, like, "Hey, my number 1 is not is like, to me, like, I'm not his number 1," then obviously I wanna take him out. So, I feel like if Nick ever finds out about how close they are, it wouldn't be good for Christian and Gabby, or not good for Nick, depending on what pans out.
It'd probably be bad for everything because Nick would not like hit like, obviously, your number 1 was he was like, your partner was seeing somebody else, and then Gabby would definitely not handle that well at all. I mean, that would be a disaster, and
Yeah,
this
and
time
I'll
kinda
for
justified
sure.
too.
Yeah, for sure, and you could see, like, Gabby just completely holding on to Christian, like a full if Gabby was drowning, Christian is her, pulley, like, to hold on to, because Gabby's got nobody. I don't feel that Gabby is close to anyone in the tribe. I feel like truly, although they saved Larissa from going home, I don't see much Larissa of these 2 episodes, to be honest. I really don't. And it doesn't seem like although they pulled it off and everything, it doesn't seem like, hey, they're appreciative of what Gabby does. Elizabeth can care less about Gabby. David, I don't Davy, Carl B, they're like they don't even associate with Gabby. So I just wonder how far can Gabby go with what's going on?
Yeah, it's what makes it a good plan by Nick. Like, Nick intentionally starts spreading the rumor that it was Gabby who is the mastermind of the Jessica vote, which is very far from the truth. But with Gabby not having any other connections, there's no one willing to doubt that. Like, that's a very easy lie to be believed. The only
Yeah.
person who has a reason to doubt it is Christian, but in this case, Christian is in on this plan and is choosing to let it happen.
Yeah.
And
Oof.
it makes you wonder, like, they didn't he did not have to deal with it, but if push came to shove, like, if they had gone the tribal, Gabby was gonna be a target. Now, ultimately, the way and Nick and Christian talked about this, the way they've planned it now is that it is likely that Davy, Carl, and B would vote together. So that's 3 votes. And it's also likely that Lyrsa, Elizabeth, and Gabby would vote together. So that's another 3 votes, which leaves Nick and Christian in the middle. So they can pick. So the question, I guess, at that point is just who would they pick? But
Yeah.
I mean, not a bad position to be in at all.
Yeah, for sure. They do have the control and that mobility to weave around and see who they could pick to stay, but it doesn't seem like it'll last long for the next episode.
Well, yes. But then we switch to the undefeated Goliath tribe, and we get like a glimpse of just fun killing time until Natalie comes back. And as usual, this is the barking orders at people like to I've lost track of everything she wants. I think she wanted a knot tied for who knows why. So she just like yells for Alec, and she just continues to dig herself deeper.
I It's crazy because I get when like CEOs are notorious to be like charismatic, controlling in a way, but I like, respectfully do not see Natalie as charismatic. I see anything but like, her having charismaticism. It's just, like, she doesn't have that. All she does is talk and tell people what to do. Like, she's just like, "Hey, you, come here, do this. Hey, you, do this." And it's just really crazy to me that she thinks that I feel like she truly thinks she's better than everyone else, um, and that she's above them. That everyone's beneath her, like she belongs to this tribe, but everyone else, she's the best of the best, the Goliath of the Goliath. And which is anything but the truth. Natalia hates her, Angelina hates her, um, everyone hates her. And then you see Jeremy, then the last episode trying to like kind of like, throw out a bone, helping her out, and then they go into a big fight and stuff. So it's kind of like I don't see why Natalie I wish I could go into Natalie's brain and, like, understand what she's thinking right now. That like, does she want to build relationships or she's purposely maybe her plan the entire way is just be so bad, no one's gonna vote for her because she's always gonna everyone would hate her, so why would we choose her, That's her plan. That is her number 1 plan. If that is her plan, I love that. But I truly don't think that was Natalie's plan. This is just Natalie home, Natalie on TV, Natalie on Survivor with a bunch of people that, don't like her.
It would be revolutionary because in the beginning of any Survivor season, the first vote outs are often who is the least helpful in our challenges so that we don't go back to tribal. And like given nothing else, Natalie would be a target by that criteria. So you're right. If she had made herself such a bad, like a bad Survivor player, in that there's no way she could ever win at tribal counts, final tribal, then yeah, that might work to make people bring her along to be a goat. But what a dangerous gamble that would be.
Oh, so scary. I mean, look what happened to Jeremy. Jeremy tried to help her out, and it did not work at all. It's really bad, and what's funny speaking of Jeremy, in this episode, you see this paranoia coming from Jeremy where, like, he's like, "Everybody's talking to one another but him, nobody's talking to him, that means no one's talking strategy," meaning he's probably the one, like, leaving if no one's talking to him, or ideas will be thrown in, and it goes from Natalie to someone else, and he comes in and has everybody around the fire and just basically tell them, like, "We should stop that." Like, no more, none of that. I've never seen that. I've never seen that. Not that I watched many, but I'm like, "Oh my gosh, are you telling them all to stop talking, like, having private conversations?" And his whole thing was like, "Well, if we win, we don't have to worry about it. We don't have to talk about this. Why talk about strat when we're gonna win tonight?" Which is, kinda ironic, but, um, it's just I was and then it was just crazy because everyone's just like, that's weird, and why are you so paranoid?" And this type of behavior gets him, like, everybody, like, kind of red flag him a little.
Yeah, well, so I think a couple of things were happening here. So you're right. Jeremy notices that in general, people are pairing off, but really what he's noticing is that there's a majority alliance. There's 6 people. There's the 3 girls, Angelina, Natalia, and Kara. And then, at least so they say, there are 3 boys, which is Alec, John, and Dan. And if that 6 stays together, it's gonna mean the other 4 are not talked to often because they're not part of the group. So whether or not they're talking strategy or not, like, that's just what he's noticing, and he's kinda making the leap that, "Oh, they're all having strategic conversations." And he tries to explain, like, "We shouldn't be having those yet because, like, we're trying to stay Goliath strong, there's no need for that. It's probably some amount of self-preservation, I don't want them talking about me." And all that's fine. He tells us to the audience, to us, in confessional. And then but to go to everyone's face, he basically assembled a council meeting himself to tell everyone this. It was so awkward, and then Allison, who's not even in this group of 6 that I'm talking about, is like, I think she was like, "I don't think we're having side conversations," and it's
Yes.
just dis disastrous for
Because what are
Jeremy.
you gonna say if you're not having side conversations, but someone is telling you that we should stop doing that and as a group, then you're just like, "Wait, what?" Like, were people having side conversations? Because I wasn't, and then you're low key being accused of having side conversations, and you're being called out, and I thought it's fine to have it. It's to be expected to have side conversations, so it's kinda weird to have someone basically be like, "No, let's just not have that. That just gets weird and things get changed and we don't want that and muddles up our strategy." And it's like, "Wait, what?" And because in the end, he goes around and talks about like, "We're gonna vote for this. This is what's gonna happen." And you're like, "Wait, what? What just happened?
Oh,
I
yeah,
thought no
no, this
strategy is being talked about, Jeremy."
that's the worst, that's the worst. Like, he does that, and then the next thing we see him doing is talking to Mike about targeting Dan, talking to Alec, talking to John, talking to God. Like, he talks to a lot of people, and not even at the same time. He talks to them individually, which means he's having side conversations, strategic
The
side
one thing
conversations.
he said no to for everyone.
So
Crazy.
bad, bad, bad. But at least at this point, even with that, he's still not despised like Natalie's despised.
No, not at all. But he is seen as very strategic. I feel like a lot of people see him as strategic and also see him as a very good like social person, and I feel I could see that. He's very I feel like he's got his little personality, but you can see him and Mike really getting along well. You kind of get his story about his father, and he had a lot going on, and I really like that we were able to see a part of his story, although short-lived to see him on, but, we got to see his story and his relationship with Mike.
Yeah, yeah, but even Mike that we hear Mike say he really likes Jeremy, but he's wary about actually aligning with him because he senses danger, like, "Oh, this might not end up well for Jeremy, I don't want him to take me down with him."
Yeah,
And Mike would end up seeing the future here. Uh,
yeah, basically, he just saw he thought Jeremy was, like, very aggressive in terms of trying to look for, um, Dan's idol. Wait, no, yeah, Dan's idol, and then was able to find it and everything like that, so I guess, like, to Mike, it's like, well, if you're willing to go through snooping someone's stuff, going through their socks for idols, what you would do anything for that, for money and stuff, and that's scary. Um, so I could also see, yeah, why Mike would think that.
yeah, he's not wrong, and the the concern with Mike, of course, is, okay, you're not gonna align yourself seriously with Jeremy then, but what are you gonna do? Because right now, I she has no alliance and is just floating around. I mean, it's kind of the position he put himself in by being caught searching for an idol immediately, and not actually. At least if you get caught, but you found it, that's one thing. But you don't have it.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I feel like in the David's tribe, you could see the line of grouping, like the delineation of who's working with who and what's going on. But you see it less in the Goliath, even though we kind of had like the whole like quote unquote showmans with Kara and Dan, and then is it Angelina with John? Like I don't see those interactions that much. And they really dimmed it down this episode, I feel like for me. So I kind of forgot that they were even a big thing together.
Yeah, I mean, ostensibly, on Goliath, what we have is everyone against Natalie. Like that's really what takes center
That's
stage,
true. That's true.
and then Jeremy, to his detriment, is starting to mess that up. Funny enough,
Yeah.
um,
It does mess up because like, everyone was against Natalie, but then now they're like, "But wha" everyone but Natalia, I would like to say that, because Natalia is like, for sure, Natalie is going home. Like, that is it, point blank, that's it. But, we have, like, Angelina, who's more, like, kinda playing around with some other stuff, so it's kind of interesting to see that play. I mean, Angelina is my pick, so I'm very, like, proud of her in that way. I'm like, "Yes, I love that." It's a good
yeah,
play, honestly.
it's a classic dilemma. Let's get into the dilemma after the immunity challenge. So they
Oh, yes.
go to the immunity challenge, actually the combo reward immunity challenge, which is called Tangled Up in Blue, and this was a bunch of your tribe members are tied together, and you need to like you're all attached to rope, and you need to kind of walk around each other in the right way to unravel the rope. Like if you buy bread, sliced bread, and you need to like untwist that little tie on top to open it up. Is that to that type of thing? But it ends in a puzzle. But this is actually a big but um not that many pieces puzzle. So it's a 4-piece pyramid puzzle. And and this, unlike last challenge, this ends up being very close. Both tribes get to the end around the same time, and it's Christian and Gabby working on it for David, and it is Allison and Natalie working on it for Goliath. And interestingly enough, they don't always show us the pre-game discussion, but we see that Natalie wants to participate in this one, and it's ultimately Angelina and Natalia who sit out since the Goliaths have 2 extra members. And yeah, this does not go well for the Goliaths or Natalie at all, as they are defeated by Christian and Gabby in the challenge.
Yeah, but come on, like, this guy is Christian is super good at puzzles, and I'm sure Gabby is too, so I was rooting for them because, they were so close, and although the puzzles, there were, like, 4 pieces, it did look really complicated 'cause in the end, they're supposed to make a pyramid, and I was at a loss. I'm watching it, but I'm just like, I wouldn't even know what to do with this. So it was very close, and I'm very happy that, finally they won, the Davids won, and, it wasn't what I thought where Goliath just keeps winning and winning and winning until they merge or something.
Yeah, this is the type of challenge that you cannot do really ever again, because I guarantee you this puzzle was created, whether it's 3D printed or just constructed. You could probably buy an Etsy right now. Like people
Oh,
could practice this for sure.
that's true,
So it
that's
would
true.
not be a good idea to have this challenge again.
But it will be great to purchase for a future survivor party.
Well, yeah, of course, definitely, definitely, and Christian, even with his, I mean, he didn't instantly get this. Both him and Gabby were like staring at it, thinking about it. They were bouncing ideas off each other. Um, Not necessarily that there was like anti chemistry, but obviously the same thing did not happen between Alice and Natalie. They didn't really get anywhere working together. And what that would set up is this dilemma, classic for like from the beginning of time for Survivor. This is to vote an early vote out. Should I vote out someone? Usually this is like the weakest person in the tribe, but in this case, it's also just the most dysfunctional person in the tribe? Or do you consider that person is not a threat, so you vote out someone who actually would be a threat later in the game, but is probably is gonna be useful in challenges?
That's hard. I would go for beginning phase. I feel like it depends on where you're at, you know? I feel like when we play, like, in video games, you kinda change your strat later on. Like, I feel like beginning early game, you're thinking about keeping the good ones around because you wanna win challenges. Like, if we win challenges, I don't ever have to worry about getting voted out. I'd rather just stay around. So I wanna keep the good ones around, and then later on, the good ones are good at challenges people can see, and they'll take them out, hopefully. You can't win all the immunity challenges, right?
Yeah, surely not.
Yeah, you can't be that good. Well, I'm just that's where I would go by, but hey, maybe someone with a survivor guide of winning, being sole survivor will say otherwise. But I would like to say, like, when Goliath lose, Angelina actually, like, Angela and Natalia, I think was it Natalia that
It
went
was,
for it.
specifically Natalia.
Yeah, yeah, went for it, like, Angelina would have been better in the puzzle, and then Angela comes and says, says thank you to, like, Natalia, basically agreeing and stuff.
But it's not like confessional. This is Jeff's challenge wrap up when he just it's always almost always just like fluff being talked about, and he asks the Goliath tribe like, "Any will there be any second guessing of the decisions of who participated, who didn't?" And you're right. That's that Natalia is just it's like Angela would have been better, and she's singing out loud to Jeff in front of everybody, specifically Natalie. You can hear this super aggressive
It
against Natalie.
was in front of everybody, and then there's Natalie just, like, kinda chilling there, and I feel like in a normal circumstance, when someone loses a puzzle or loses any parts of the immunity trap, you don't wanna be like you wanna be mean to that person. You don't wanna make them feel bad, but there everyone's to the point to Natalia to Natalie to the point where, like, "I don't give a F. I'm gonna take you out. I'm gonna call you out. You're bad. If you were so bad, we would be winning." That's basically what Natalia said.
Yeah, and granted, I mean, this is in the beginning of the game. Making enemies, as long as you vote them out, probably won't matter.
That's
But
true. You're
wow,
right.
just people are usually much more cordial nowadays on the show.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
That's how
we were saying that it was a big deal when, I forgot who, T TK said something and just something simple, and he got voted out right after for saying, like, those things when they lost in 47 when they lost their, challenge, and
right.
then TK was just like, "We shouldn't be happy," or like, "We lost in this," and then bam, he's gone. So, it's just, um it's just crazy how, like, Natalia was so open to just coming for a particular person, not, like, going for the team, just in general, to this person, in your face, "Natalie, you're the problem."
Yeah, and it really looks like Natalie's dead to rights here. And they come back from the challenge. Natalie actually is prepared to try to do something about it, which is nice. She actually we see her talk to Jeremy first, and she pleads her case like, "Oh, and that's what she says, like, "I'm pleading my case to keep that you should keep me." Now she doesn't actually suggest what to do though. All she's saying is, "Don't vote for me." So not really giving anything for Jeremy to go on here. And Jeremy replies like, "I just don't think you have enough support." Like in other words, even if I wanted to help you, I don't know that there's something to be done for me to help you. And Natalie's not happy about it, but I'm totally on Jeremy's side. Like, I tried you tossed me aside when I tried to help you before. So now, even if I want, it's too late anyway. But I actually just don't want to help you. Is what he's thinking.
For real. Like, the thing is, if she wanted help, she should cook up an idea being like, "Hear me out on this. We should take this person," or like, "This is what should happen." I really wanna work with you. I feel like there are things like we laugh about people saying like, "I really have good vibes with you. I really wanna work with you." We laugh about it, but these are words that work, Natalie. Use them. say like, "Hey, Jeremy, I really thought about what you said yesterday or the other day, whatever, and you're right. I feel like I know I really want to work with you. I feel like this," or like Natalie to John, who also want to work with her, like at this like under like nobody would ever say like know this type of alliance. That could work because John has some sort of power and could be able to sway things without it being too obvious in a way because it could become strategic not taking Natalie out. And but she didn't do that. Instead, she gets upset when she's like, "Don't vote for me," and then Jeremy's basically saying, okay, well, me not voting for you ain't gonna help much, you know? You're still going home." There's a lot of people in this
And
in this tribe.
she tells him, like, to his face, like, "And you've never been there for me," like, something to that effect. It's like,
Yes. Yes.
like, "What
I
are you
was like,
talking
"Wait, what?"
about?"
Yeah, Jeremy was literally trying to help her out the other day, like, giving her some, like, help and, like, want basically, it felt like he wanted to work with her, but and just, like, kinda help but she wouldn't change, and he's like, "Alright, what's the point?" Which is fair, like, if you're not gonna change, then why would I wanna work with you? But then she just comes in and just, like, comes for him, and I'm just like, "Dang, that's crazy." And then later on, Natalie would wanna come up and talk to Kara, basically, like, in front of Jeremy being like, "I wanna be alone with Kara and talk to her," and Jeremy's just like straight up, "No, I'm not leaving. I'm not getting up. You can't talk to her. I don't want you to talk to her. Like, what if you, like, wanna put my, like" basically, then he says, like, "What if you wanna put in my name?" And then Natalie's like, "What do you mean? Why would you think that? But I wasn't gonna put on your name. I wasn't gonna talk about you. I just don't want you to be here." It's just so funny.
Yeah, I mean, that legitimately was awkward, though, like, I don't know what I would do in that situation. That is we're all like, 3 of us are just sitting down, and then Natalie comes over and asks me to leave, or n she asked if she asked, "Can I talk to them too?" And Jeremy is like, "Oh, yeah, it's fine." And he, like, sits down, and she's like, "No, I mean without you, like, leave," is what she's saying. That is a very strange thing to just tell someone, "Leave, I wanna talk to these people." Like,
It is.
that's tough.
But it's also very interesting to be like, "No, I'm not." So it goes both ways to me, but, Will, have you seen, like, people saying just, like, no, straight up, no, they're not leaving? Like, when they wanna talk to someone private? Like, I feel like in normal circumstances, you would be like, "Okay," like, you don't like it, you wouldn't want that, but you gotta do that, you know?
Uh, it's come up a few times, and it's always awkward. I feel like I've seen it more where the person relents and lets them talk, but it's always awkward. I mean, the Natalie actually pivots quickly. Like, this was quick thinking. Sh The next thing she says is, "Kara, can I talk to you? Can you come with me?" So, like, now, like, leave the situation. But then Jeremy counters that by following them too.
Yes, yes.
And the edit leads us to believe, like, Natalie never gets to have a conversation without Jeremy.
Yep.
I don't know that ever happened.
Like, in the end, we don't know what he was trying to talk to her about. Like, I mean, she was like, it could be, like, just talking strat. Like, I'm curious what Natalie would have talked to Kara because I feel like they never interacted. I've never seen them interact
Well,
before.
I
But
think Jeremy is right on the money. The only reason to not talk
yes.
with while he's there is that she's gonna go against him.
Yeah, that's true, that's true, and it's funny because she straight up was like, I wasn't gonna talk about you." But this is so funny.
Yeah, and they sort this spirals out of control. They're shouting at each other. It's very cringe. Um, but despite all of this, it still feels like the crosshairs are pointed at Natalie until we hear from Angelina, who has decided she prefers Jeremy to go. And she feels so strongly about that she talks to every member of her tribe, it seems, over and over again to persuade, and she gets a lot of pushback. People really don't want Natalie here. Uh, and but she just keeps at it. She's trying to convince them. Essentially, Natalie's harmless. She is not going to impact our game strategically, whereas Jeremy might. And some of the counters to her is like, well, but Natalie, if there's ever a swap, and certainly if we go to the merge, will never work with us. So we don't want that outcome to happen.
Yeah, which is an interesting concept to think about. But did we not think about other flip side of the coin is that nobody likes Natalie. No matter where she goes, she's gonna get voted out. If anything, it's nice to have that Natalie in your team because everyone's gonna hate on her and takes away the spotlight from you, you know?
Indeed, indeed. So it didn't seem like Angelina was getting through to everyone, but we know at this point is, but she really tried. So then we go to tribal council, and so it's not looking good for Natalie. It might be Jeremy. We'll see. And very quickly, it becomes Jeremy versus Natalie at tribal, and Jeremy really goes 0 to 60 on Natalie. I mean, he said that if he dropped dead, he would have 9 people that would go to his funeral. But if Natalie died, he couldn't say the same thing.
Yeah, that's harsh, man. I understand that ain't cool, but dude, that's tough to say. That's harsh. I don't think I've seen such a harsh like tribal in a minute. Like Jeremy was like Natalie tonight, like I go guns a blazing. Yeah, I'm going for you. Out like and it felt like to him he felt confident enough that she's going that he could just tell her all this stuff and be like, "Boom, boom, bam, everybody's listening to this. We're taking Natalie out." And, I just can't believe he said that. You know, like, usually see, you're in this instance, a shot in the dark would have been really good in a way because nobody would have been so crazy talking about that. Like, I feel like this is where I'm like, "You know what? I see the vision." But I'm also a hater still. I'm still a hater through and through, but I see the vision because in if there was one, which I'm assuming there isn't one right now in this part of Survivor
No,
history,
no.
they wouldn't have done that because if they did, Natalie might have used the shot in the dark. But this was an aggressive one, and I feel like everybody although Jeff kinda goes around with all the other people, which tiptoes around it, like, they like, I think Dan gives a very, like, PR type of answer being like, like, "Everybody's in this area, we're all trying to, like, show who we are," and basically, Natalie just didn't vibe with all, like, the people and like, because you're taking Natalie from outside setting to an island full of randos and everyone kinda give that same PR answer to not, like, cause any rift. Even I feel like even Angelina didn't say anything too aggressive. It's really Jeremy that keeps on going for Natalie. And Natalie too, like, she didn't hold back as well, but Jeremy, oh man, Jeremy really showed his colors.
Right. And I mean, he went down being 100% confident it was going to be Natalie. And we would go to tribal or to go to the vote. And in a stunning turn of events, it's a landslide, unanimous 9-1 vote against Jeremy. They picked they picked Natalie over Jeremy, and Jeremy goes home.
Oh, rough. I can't believe it. I mean, in a way I can after everything that happened, but I'm just more shocked that Natalie didn't go home, because I feel like Jeremy is better at challenges than Natalie, so and it's their first ever tribal, so to think that Natalie is still here is kinda crazy, but, yeah, Jeremy, I feel like Jeremy I honestly think if Jeremy didn't have this whole spiel that morning of nobody should work to get talk to no side conversation, let's not plan for anything, like basically telling everybody to stop playing, um, he would have been fine. I feel like the fact that he was like, stop playing everybody and trying to control it, he got out of control. And then it spiraled into him saying goodbye.
Yep. And with that, Survivor F loses his first winner pick. What a shame. What a
Oof.
shame.
Actually, speaking of that, was that the challenge? This immunity challenge was the challenge where we lost where someone got injured. B.
That's true, that's true. So we wouldn't really notice during the challenge,
No, I
but
didn't notice it.
although me knowing what's gonna happen, I was actually looking for it in the background, and I like, after her she there was a this was like a multi-stage challenge, and she did the first stage, and after that, there kept being shots of most of the David tribe cheering, and she was always, like, way behind them, like, leaning against a pole until finally she had to run with everybody else. I was like, "Hmm, okay." Uh, so yes, we would learn that she believed she sprained her MCL, but because she had torn that, in her past, she's worried that if she continues playing, she may tear it again. But there's nothing becomes of this, but we hear about this concern, which leads to episode 4. And we begin immediately. It looks like we're going to a challenge because everyone's here. It's like, oh, seeing first look at the Goliath tribe, blah blah blah. And Jeff says, and to start this off, I believe we have an announcement uh B on the David tribe. And in a crazy twist, B announces to everybody that she is choosing to pull herself from the game, aka quitting is what this officially goes down as.
Ugh.
And just like that, out of nowhere, B gone from the game. Both the Survivor F's picks wiped out in less than 2 episodes.
And yeah, literally less than 2 episodes, less than 2, like, not even the 2nd tribal has come along, and yet we lost he lost both of them. We couldn't have made this up, guys. It was not scripted. This is fully Survivor F's effing pick.
Perhaps the worst performance in winner picks I've ever witnessed.
It's incredible.
Disastrous.
Maybe that was his plan. That I mean, I think maybe he thought it was picking the losers, and then it was a loser's pick. So right now he's 2 for 2. I think we gotta see what Epps' next picks are to really see. But I couldn't believe it. But I also understand, B talks about how she's an athlete and, if she keeps on playing on this bad leg, a bad knee, I'm sure she would probably cause more injuries, maybe like going from a strain to a tear or a fraying or more other stuff that's more serious. And as an athlete, she definitely doesn't want to do anything detrimental that cause long term issues. So I completely understand, and I feel like everybody else did too. And it got quite emotional, even in the Goliath team. Um, but similar to what I said in the last episode where, like, this story of David versus Goliath keeps coming back. Jeff is like, David's like, they somebody gets, medically evacuated, and then we got someone getting hurt with their knee getting hurt. I'm like, "Oh my goodness, these Davids cannot catch a break." This story spoke for itself. The self-fulfilling prophecy won't stop. But it's I loved when Angelina was like, it's a tough position and you respect her for, me being able to choose that. It's hard to give up, unless you're Austin. No tea or shade to Austin, but but it's true. Like at this point, being on Survivor is a dream. It's beyond just being there for $1 million. It's truly being there for this experience, it feels like. It's one of those shows I feel like people probably have this dream to do this because they grew up watching it, they say. Like they were hanging out with their mom or grandma watching it. So it's very special and I feel like it hits a nostalgic like string to people's heartstrings.
Yeah, I remember being conflicted because like you are quitting, like you're not being pulled from the game, but I can understand like that is your career. Um, it it's one of those gray areas where the medical's like, well, you could continue, but will you but it's up to you if you want to continue. It always feels weird. Like ultimately you got to do what you feel is best for you. But I am still
Yeah.
comfortable with this being categorized as a quit. So I'm still doing that, but I definitely am not like a hater like I was for Austin.
Yeah, and I feel like Jeff also doesn't feel that way too. But it's just sad, like, I think it is sad that you're put in as a you surrender or gave up, not that you were evacuated. It's not the same. It's not the same treatment as Pat where you're like, "You didn't give up." Like, we're telling you to leave versus B, it's like, "You're quitting."
Yeah, that and and I guess the difference is she could have continued. Like even with the concern, she could have chosen to just never try in any challenge and see how far she can get doing that. I mean, that probably ends with her being voted out quickly, but still, it wouldn't be just leaving. So, I don't know. I'm still conflicted even now, all these years later.
I kinda wish she just kept going with it. Like, because she played, maybe she could have stepped out or done something more simpler, that didn't require her to use her knees or run. I know it would be hard to guess what the challenge would have been, but or could have been, but I would have tried to stick another day, But I get it in her mindset, like, every day is time, time is money, and you wanna heal up, and there's only so much you can heal up in a place in the middle of nowhere with bad bed and who knows what if she is able to take, like, an ibuprofen or something or utilize ice and stuff, so I get it, and she did say it took 2 months for her to rehab it when she did have that previously, so yeah, I get it.
With her gone, we actually get a twist in the game as the survivors' predictions end up being correct. A bunch of them were talking about this. A tribe swap occurs, and this is a special version of the tribe swap where we mix everyone up from 2 tribes to 3 tribes. There's a basket of a bunch of buffs. Everyone picks one, and whatever color you get is the tribe you end up on. How'd you feel about this surprise swap?
Dude, I was shocked. I'm shocked that it's happening already, and when I was watching, I was like, "How does Jeff pick who does what?" So I guess it's just roulette, like, you just pick one and hope for the best that you get whatever, but I was shocked that it happened already, and it went because I thought it was the merge, Will. I thought it was the
Oh,
merge,
okay.
and then suddenly there was, like, not 1, not 2, but 3 colors. I'm like, "Wait, we went from 2 to 3? Like, what's going on? Are we back to the modern days?" So I was kinda shocked. Is this, like, the thing that was going on during that time, Will?
It was.
Okay,
So
okay, so
this
it's to be expected.
it was to be expected. I mean,
Okay.
you couldn't predict precisely when, but even to the point of expecting a 2 to 3, that's at the very least, they knew it was possible. It could have happened. Uh, but because Goliath had the numbers going into this, the odds were in their favor, and it would work out as on all 3 tribes, it's 3 Goliaths to 2 David tribe members. Uh, what maybe they didn't expect, though, was that one person did not get any colored buff, and that was Carl.
Our loner who was sent to Exile Island. And I was like, "What do you even do there? Alone? Like, by yourself? With nobody?" If I was sent to Exile Island, I would just talk on the camera, like, cause there's a guy there, I'm gonna talk to you. You may or may not respond, but I'm gonna chat with you. I'm gonna yap until you, like, turn off the cameras.
They just they just call somebody else.
I know, because, like, if you think about it, when you're alone, right? I mean, I don't know about you. I mean, this is a great off the island talk segue, but when you're alone and you don't have your phone, that's hard. When you're alone and you have your phone, it's fine, right? But then when you're alone with no phone, what is your brain doing? Like, what are you thinking? If you're in this room with nothing, a room of nothingness, just no phone, no person next to you. Are you gonna start talking out loud? Are you planning mentally on something? Are you planning the next vacation? Are you trying to write a movie, like, plan a movie? Like, what is in your mind if you had that to pass time?
See, it's tough. I have great things that I can occupy my time with, but it's always like I have something like
Yeah,
paper and pen.
exactly.
With
No
that,
paper pen. Yep.
we're good.
Mhm.
But without anything, it'd be planning something. It'd have to be like and I would be talking to myself in this
Oh, you
situation.
would be talking. Okay, okay. So
Like
you'll be
like I would
talking out loud, kind of.
like, let's say I was planning strategies for the New York Yankees. I would speak it aloud then as I was going
Mm,
through like lineups, potential lineups and everything. Uh, so that's definitely the type of but that would but how long can that go? I mean, he's there a whole day basically.
yes,
So
alone, nobody. You know what you can do? You could in his case, he could draw in the sand, on the Yankees lineup. That's what you could do, you could draw and then you'll start explaining, like, "This is what you would do here." You could draw
I
the
mean, I
whole,
would
like,
hope
field.
like I'm on an island. Like I could exploration can be my thing that I'm doing.
That's true. I just imagine I'm like, poor Carl who was just saying how he's alone after, like, Jessica leaves, and then now you're, like, off to Exile Island. I'm just in my mind I feel like for me, though, I would think of, like I used to when I was younger, when you can't go to sleep and you don't wanna use your phone because your parents would yell at you, or read a book because your parents would yell at you. My brain, I would replay a movie. Like, I would play my favorite drama or my movie in my head so it's like, because I in my mind, I could see the movie and watch the movie, and that's what I would do as my entertainment, which is like, I don't know, like, is that would you do it? Would you, think about your favorite movie, like, I don't know, is it Star Wars? Like, could you think of it from the start to finish? Of course, not in the same amount of time, but, like, in, like, chronological order, kinda play that in your head as if you're watching it.
Some of my favorites I can do that with. The trouble is I do that all the time with music. Like I'll be playing if I'm listening to the soundtrack of some fight, I can either picture the actual fight from the TV show or the movie, or replace it with like create a fantasy in my head, recreate it with other characters. Like I
Oh.
could be listening to scenes from Attack on Titan, but in my head, the participants are characters from Avatar: Last Airbender.
Wait,
That's
that
like
is such a cool mashup.
yeah, I do that all the time. But in this case, I don't have music. I have my phone filled with music, so I'm not sure I'd be able to do the same type of thing. But it would eventually get to me, of course. And you're because you're on the show with a bunch of strangers. Like that's you're already homesick to start with. And then just when you start getting comfortable with those strangers, now you're just by yourself. That's a lot. And to be clear, what's happening here is there's 3 new tribes of 5 people each, and they all 3 of them are no challenge, they're just gonna go back to their tribes to mingle, and Carl, who has no tribe, is being banished to this other separate island to, as far as he knows, do nothing. And then he learns that whichever tribe loses a member first, he will replace that person. So that ends up being the arrangement. Now on uh the new purple tribe, which is Jabeni, from Goliath, we have Angelina, Mike, and Natalie, and they're joined by Lyrsa and Nick. Uh Mike calls the 5 of them the Davids of the Davids. He does not have confidence in their tribe at all.
That's so funny.
Says they're
Right.
definitely gonna go back to tribal many times.
I know. I was like, "Mike, that's so funny." That he thought that. He had no confidence in their team. And what are the odds that Natalie and Angelina, like, ends up together? It's crazy. But it would have been even funnier if Natalie and Natalia ends up together, but we didn't get that. But, I mean, going there, in their tribe, like, right away, Natalie is telling people how to make the fire, being like, "Angelina, you gotta do this. You gotta add this. You got" Meanwhile, she's sitting there Angelina's the one making the fire. Everyone else is trying to like, feed the fire, do the thing, and then there's Natalie just like barking out orders and telling people, and already she's already made a bad impression. Like they've been barely there for less than probably an hour, and
But
everyone
she's
already
not worried
feels
about
it.
making a bad impression. She says in confessional, "I don't want these Davids here. I wanna get rid of them." Like,
For real. You know, at least she said that she was Goliath strong yesterday on the episode before, and she stays true to her word that she's like, "Davids need to go." So that's funny, but that's not how you play. Like, in this entire time, I feel like I'm just so perplexed on what is Natalie how is Natalie playing? Is Natalie playing to win or Natalie playing to just lose gently, you know? I just I don't know what goes on in Natalie's mind. Like, there is no strategy. There is no gameplay. You know what I'm saying, Will? Like, what do you
well,
see as
well,
Natalie's, like, gameplay?
there's the only glimpse was she did fight for her life in the previous episode at least at tribal council by making a statement that she, like you said, she will be Goliath strong. She will not swap. She won't betray Goliath at any point in the game. So the only thing she has going for her is she's saying she'll be a loyal soldier when it comes to it. The trouble, of course, is that she fancies herself like a general, not just as, like a soldier. So that's already going to be problems down the line. But she has no we have seen no hint of an end game strategy. Like, she has no allies, no one to she has no social capital either. So she has no ability to get out who she wants to get out, even if she thinks she got out Jeremy, but ultimately that was Angelina and everybody else. So it's not and then uh, God, this is tough. I just praise that that's the one thing she had going for her. She could have instead on this tribe decided, forget the Goliaths, they hate me. Let me align myself with Lyrsa and Nick. But instead, she states she wants them gone, treats them just as bad as she treats all her other Goliath members. So yeah, I detect no long-term planning from Natalie.
Yeah. I feel like if Natalie makes a far, I'm gonna be shocked. And just similar, I feel like Natalie, if even if Natalie changes or like kind of like flips a new leaf, I think the damage is done. The damage is deep and done. Nobody wants to work with her. I don't think, and I feel like anybody that does want to work with her, that's publicly going to work with her, they're going to be, you know, I think everyone else is not going to like them, and then it's just not a go. So why would you want to work with them when you will get a target on your back, you know?
Right, right. So on that tribe, Nick and Lyrsa have already noticed this, so that's simmering in the background where like if the crack appears to be people's not liking Natalie. Then on the brand new green tribe, which is Tiva, our Goliaths are Allison, Dan, and John. And then from the David tribe, we have Christian and Gabby who end up sticking together.
Are the
On
odds
this, yeah,
that
this
these two
is
end up together?
yeah, lucky or unlucky, depending on because I started hearing you talk about how maybe Gabby's hurting Christian's game. So maybe
I
this is
do
unlucky
think
for him.
that. I do think that. I feel like would I feel like Christian's is doing really good. I mean, automatically, Christian is doing really good in terms of socially with John. Like, interestingly enough, talking about Slamtown, which I don't know anything about, but he's going in there talking to them, and they're having a good time. They're having like a bro moment going on, and it's really cute and wholesome. And then we get Gabby, who's like, I'm not part of this team. I'm just stuck. I'm, like, outside. Nobody wants to be with him. Like, "Gabby, you didn't even go up there to talk to them." Like, I feel like if Gabby went up to them, like, John wouldn't have been mean to her or not inviting to her, but I feel like she was so in her head, it just went downhill. And I feel like good for Gabby that she had Christian in her team, but bad for Christian because Christian's always gonna be stuck, like, taking care of Gabby, like, trying to make her feel okay and make her feel less self-conscious about herself, and I get it, like, she just maybe she was bullied as a kid, or maybe she felt bad as a kid or something. Maybe that got to her, so I feel bad, but at the same time, like, "Gabby, please, stop it. Stop it right now." I'm like, we're back to the crying part, and I'm like, "Oh, no. well, what why are we crying? What's going on? Like, no one was mean to you. Like, come on, get up there and go. I just Gabby, please.
Well, this is a very different but maybe equally frustrating version of Banu or
Oh, yes.
or even Andy when Andy's is affected by no one like cheering for him for what, breaking the coconut. Was that what
Yes,
it
it
was?
was so cringe, like, it was like, "Is it me or are we all cringing right now?" I'm like, "Why?" And then it just felt like Gabby just wants, like, reassurance and, like, Christian to be like, you're good, you're fine, no problem. I'm with you, like, I won't abandon you," basically, and man, I feel like Gabby likes him. I feel like Gabby has a crush on Christian.
See, now that would work out because uh as dangerous as a showmance can be, obviously like if you don't actually act on it, it's just simmering in the background, well then no one can find out because it's not happening. Dan, he has been temporarily, for now at least, separated from his showmances. He does not end up with Kara. Now, interestingly, we talked about how lucky it was or unlucky for Christian and Gabby to be on the same tribe here, but I think Christian would disagree. Christian would say this was accounted for because he had two-person alliances. So his odds were higher than other people of ending up with an alliance member
That's
because
true.
it
That's
could
very
have
true.
been Gabby or could have been Nick. It would have been the same outcome regardless. But
Eh.
really on this on the Tiva tribe, that ends up being the story of Christian seems to be really clicking with Dan and John, which we kind of glossed over that, but you would not expect that to be. Like these are like two huge guys just hanging out, laughing with the little nerd. So
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
cool.
and I love the part where Gabby was like, "I'm not good at these, like, I'm good I'm better with people that are like me." He's like, "Better with people that are weird and nerdy." Like you, Christian, you weirdo. You little weird nerd. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
"Ow, okay." I mean, it's a compliment in a way, but kinda backhanded, but it's like I'm sure Christian took no offense, but I was like, "That was hilarious. That was so funny."
And that leaves us with the new orange tribe, which is Vuku. Our Goliath members are Alec, Kara, and Natalia, and then David and Elizabeth are the Davids on that tribe. We'll get into them in a second as we go to the immunity challenge, which was called Blind Barrow. And this was a
Oh.
caller challenge, which is a so the entire challenge happens with one person calling out instructions and everybody else being blindfolded. And to Gabby's credit, she's the caller for her tribe and she does a great job. And then
Yeah, she
collectively they
was
all do great.
It's crazy to see that because I feel like she was so calm, cool, collected throughout the entire time. Like this is the Gabby that I saw in episode 1, you know? But then there's just those like moments of doubts and then she drops down to like Banu cringe, you know? And I'm like, what's going on, Gabby? Come on. Like episode 1, you know, technical writer Gabby. Bring it out, you know? I need that cool, batty, smart Gabby, and she showed it in this one. And this one was a hard challenge because they're going through this obstacle and they have to help their teammate navigate that's like blindfolded. That's really hard.
Yeah, basically like there's two stages. In the first stage, the caller, who's not blindfolded, is sitting on this wheelbarrow contraption and two tribe members who are blindfolded are pushing them along, avoiding obstacles, going over like a balance beam. And eventually, if you get to the end of the challenge, the other two blindfolded teammates will hold up this uh, ball maze, and you need to tell them move up, move left, move right to get the ball through the maze to the end. And clearly, Gabby and her tribe do the best. They win first place. Uh, they get some uh like sweets,
Yeah, like
coffee, iced
buns,
coffee,
cinnamon
and
buns.
immunity.
Oh, yes,
Uh,
of course. Forgot about that.
And yes, very important.
Yes.
Also, second place would also get immunity. And now this, the opposite would be Angelina and Natalie. They predictably do not communicate well at all. Angelina's the one calling in this case, and they're really struggling in this first stage of the challenge. Kara is calling for the other tribe. And surprisingly, though, Angelina kind of powers through the miscommunication, gets to the second stage, and pulls it out. And with a come from behind second place victory, and keeps Purple, Javeni, from going to tribal, which leaves the orange tribe of Vuku to go. So this is when I wanted to bring up their tribe dynamics. So
Mhm.
really what's happening on Vuku is because of course there's 3 Goliaths and 2 Davids. Already like base value you would always target a David in this situation. But on top of that, because Carl will replace whoever goes out, that's even more reason to vote out a David because if you don't, then when Carl returns, it's going to be 3-2 in favor of the Davids. So it really seemed cut and dry.
It's not this cut and dry. It's similar to the last episode with Jeremy's, paranoia. I feel like we have Natalia feeling very paranoid and basically questioning her, like, 2 closest alliances. Like, she already was, like, kinda, like, feeling iffy about Kara and Elizabeth getting close, talking about horses, and she's feeling like, "Oh my gosh, you're like, I don't feel close, like, you're gonna be close to them, and you're gonna flip," and then Kara is like, "What? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm strong. I'm Goliath strong. We're us 3, we're strong together." And Natalia even talks about that with Alec. Wait, Alec? Yeah, it was Alec. And even Alec was like, "No, it's fine." But then later on, when Natalia's in here, Alec is like saying like how she's just like bossing and like saying all this stuff. And that's where like Davey kind of sees like, "Hey, I'm seeing a crack here," and that's where I'm gonna go with. Um which gives them advantage on that, seeing that, hey, there's a weakness, and that's Natalia. They're not as close as they seem to be and what you think to be. And I think that's a lot of times happen in Survivor where when the merge happens or when there is like this type of changing of people, you think that it's obvious, but then you see that, hey, although they are from the same team, it doesn't mean they're close. Everything could be surface level, sometimes they're not that close. Siva, it was not indeed strong, Siva 5. So, that's where I always go by. No matter how wholesome it was, they fell apart really fast. And it's just so what an interesting game. It's just I feel like there should be a sociology class just following Survivor episodes.
No, I can. It's out there. I guarantee
Oh,
you.
is there?
You can
That would
find
be so
it.
cool.
You
Oh,
could definitely
really?
find that. Uh,
I would love that.
I hear what you're saying about this. It feels it feels like there should not have been any version of surprises here. It feels
No.
really obvious that if only bad things will happen if you vote out one of your own. Because
Yeah,
like you mentioned like the Siva 5, but that was a group of 5 people. You're talking about a group of 9 Goliaths, and we're just a small part of them, the 3 of us. So to go against it would this would mean going against the other 6 Goliaths then if you were to make a decision here. And
that's true.
it really didn't seem like it was gonna happen. Because at first, Elizabeth actually is like, the plan is to find the idol. Plan A is to find the idol, but of course Davy secretly has it. And I like this. Davy does not tell her either. He is continue to keep it to himself. So good job, Davy.
Oh, for sure. I like that.
She obviously can't find it. Yeah, funny thing, Davy's like, it might be time for plan B. And we are wondering, oh, what's plan B? And we cut to him talking to the rest
Yes.
of Goliath. Like, oh, Elizabeth went looking for the idol. She wants to vote you out, Natalia. We gotta get her out.
Yes,
It's
it
like,
was so funny when I was watching, I'm like, "What does he mean by plan B? I wasn't aware there was a plan A, B going on." Oh my gosh. And it in a way, it was working. Like, they had the thoughts of Elizabeth versus Davy. Like, number-wise, this is correct to go with voting those 2 out, and then there you because you bring back because what happens is Carl's coming back. So, if you take out a Goliath, we're gonna be we're not gonna be having the numbers again. By taking a David out now, or a former David, having Carl back wouldn't be such a big deal. Um and Elizabeth comes over to tell Alec being like, "You this is your play," by, like, switching, you would be like, "You made a play." I disagree with Elizabeth. I know that this probably Elizabeth saying this just to, like, win that over because, like, I mean, it's either you go home or you do something, right? And it kinda works on Alec thinking about it, but I'm like, "Why would you now?" It's so early to be making that type of move, I think. So I don't think that was a smart move to do. I think the easiest way, and why not go with easy way, is to just take out Elizabeth versus Davy if I were them. But that clearly doesn't really
Well,
happen in the end.
well, and I don't think Alec, although he was more tempted than he should have been, it didn't seem like he was convinced. It was only until, on top of her paranoia, Natalia does things like, "Car, we're good, right? Alec, you're not. We're voting." He's like, "Yes." It's like, I need you to say the words like we're voting, like to keep me calm." And then
Yeah.
there's a weird interaction in the shelter where Natalia kind of does the same thing for Davy, but she's like, "Dave, you gotta do this. You have to vote for us. If you don't vote for us, your entire game's ruined." And then she just like wanders off somewhere, which is also kind of weird. Uh,
Yeah. It was
and
so
at that,
aggressive to Davy. It was crazy aggressive, Natalia.
yeah, and Alec and her other tribe members were there too, so Alec and Kara. And Alec actually at that point is not defending Davy. It's like she didn't have to be that aggressive. She just have to to bully him to do something. So it seems like a lot of things came together specifically in Alec's mind, and at tribal council, it even at that point, it still looks like it's gonna be Davy or Elizabeth until Alec just suddenly just stands up and just starts whispering to Elizabeth out of nowhere, interrupting
Oh
whatever
my
Jeff was gonna
gosh.
say.
I was shook. I'm like, "What? You just get up and do that?"
And of course, Kara and Natalia are shocked. And in fact, Davy and Elizabeth are probably also very confused. And of course, Natalia is just does not know what's happening, is not happy about it. This is what, if you, in case I forget if I told you this whenever the last time it happened, this is a alive tribal, is what we refer to this as, when
Oh.
someone just decides to stand up and start whispering. Unfortunately, you probably noticed this. This is in the era before CBS realized subtitles would be a good idea because we can't really hear them whispering.
Darn it. I wish I knew what he said because I don't know what he said. Like, it felt like and then but then he whispers to Kara, and then Kara basically reassures Natalia that it's okay, like, "It's fine, like, I'm sure it's okay." So I wonder what he told Kara because we don't know what he said.
Yeah, unknown. And when it all the dust settles, everyone talking to everyone except Davy. Actually, no one talks to Davy, so
I
awkward.
know, poor Davy. Like, and they also go like, he goes like, "Oh, still the original plan." Everybody's saying like, "Still the original plan," like, "Still the original plan." I'm like, if I was playing, I'll be like, "What was the original plan now?" Like, are we doing OG plan, or like original plan before we left, or original plan before the other original plan comes in? I'm original planceptioned out right now. I don't know which one it is anymore.
Yeah, yeah. And so, in another shocking turn of events, we end up getting one vote Elizabeth, one vote Davy, but 3 votes Natalia, as Natalia somehow, some way is voted out. And what a debacle. This is a disaster for, at least for,
Oh,
in it does depend a little bit on what Alec does next, but on the face of it, this seems like a terrible, terrible decision for Alec.
yeah. I don't think that was a smart move on his part because the next day they're gonna be like, "What the heck? What happened to Natalia?" Because it wasn't like, "Oh, it's Natalie, we all just want decided to take her out." Like, people will understand, if they took out Natalie. Natalia, they're gonna be like, "Wait, what? What happened to Goliath Strong?" And then now you're basically saying Goliath is not strong. Would you be able to flip around and pull the Davids in at this point being like, "Oh, now we're working with Davids and work with the numbers with them?" Maybe, but I'm just baffled on this. I mean, Kara is, like, baffled, and, Natalia goes like, I knew I shouldn't have trusted you," and she left mad. She was so upset.
There were no hugs this time.
No, there was no, "Oh, come on, give me a hug," or like, "Good luck, guys. It was nice playing." It was like it was just, "Oh, okay, whatever." Like, it was so aggressive. I can't believe that
It was
happened.
just, why are you smiling? I can't even with you, and storming off.
Yes, yes, it was so she's so annoyed, and then she even, like, looks back and is like, "Did you know?" I never knew that, like, you could just answer. I guess there's no rule that you can't answer, I guess. But yeah, I mean, Kara was like, "No, it wasn't her." I mean, Kara's shocked. I just wonder what's gonna happen next episode. What is Alec gonna say to Kara to make Kara feel not in the bottom? Because right now in their team, Kara's in the bottom.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's either it's disaster for Kara by really no fault of her own. Like, I don't know what she could have done about this. But now, either it's her and Alec against Davy, Elizabeth, and a returning Carl, or even worse, Alec is choosing to be with them, so now she's against everybody. And yeah, this is just really, really bad. Luckily for Carl, who did not expect, like, now he's the majority when he comes back, which is great.
That's true. He is going to a good tribe, like, having that majority is good rather than being the minority of the group. I wanna go back to our other team of Nick and Mike. I forgot I wanna talk about it. Nick, I don't know what's with him. He loves naming his little
Oh,
alliances, and I love it. And I remember when we were watching it, Nick and Mike builds this relationship, wanting to work together. They trust each other. They have good vibes with one another. Yada yada yada. The core thing that they say in Survivor. And then Nick pulls in and be like, We should make a name." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you love names, sir. I love it." If he wins, it's like he's taking away the whole taboo of not naming your alliance. But I fear he's in danger in the future. But he names their alliance Rock Stars, and I it's so cute. And they do their little like guitar strum. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cute. It's so funny."
yeah, now he's up to three alliances at least that we've seen. And
I
who
need
knows?
more. I want Nick to start making more alliances. Nick and Natalie, what are we gonna say? What is the alliance name gonna be? That would be a crazy alliance.
Boy, be like, I don't know, like, lawyer and boss woman. You got something from that, like,
I don't even know,
something
man.
CEO.
I don't even know how he think of these names. He thought it up so fast. I was like, "Oh my gosh," because I was thinking like School of Law for School of Rock, and then but hey, we got close. Rock Stars was like, "Oh my gosh, you used the word rock," and I felt very excited. But anyways, back to the other one. I just had to share it because I was like, this was like a highlight of the episode for me was that. But also the fact, of course, the fact that Natalia is gone and Natalie is still standing. Isn't that crazy?
It's shocking. I mean, scoreboard. Natalie has eliminated two people who liked her the least, Jeremy and Natalia. So just saying,
Oh
she's
my
outlasted
goodness.
them both.
I can't believe it. I mean, good on Natalie, I guess. Although we could say how bad her gameplay is and how bad she is right now, but hey, she's still standing. So, yeah, Natalia, I think we really saw a lot of the paranoia in her in this episode. And it's funny, like in all the other episodes, not that we watched like 3, but you didn't see that as much. Like I don't know why it just started coming up so much more. Is it whether it be the edits or she's seeing them talking a lot more and she's starting to feel this way, but it just came out very unnatural to me.
Well, I think it's just when times are good, when there's no tribal, you don't have to worry about it. And suddenly, when you do need to worry about it, that's when people who are paranoid, that's when that comes up. Like, there's no need to be unless you're Gabby. There's no need to be paranoid when you're winning. Nothing's going on.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
so I think it's just that. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, this is gonna be an explosive next episode because at least for Alec, when he must answer for his crimes, or maybe not. I mean, we'll see. Maybe he could spin this in a way, but it really doesn't seem like there's any good explanation for what he's done here. So yeah, we'll see. So that brings us to the end of these two episodes and this episode of the Island Life podcast. We are on our way. So I'm sensing good vibes for the season overall so far. Would you agree with that?
Oh my gosh, yes. The blind sides, oh, amazing. I'm, like, eating this all up. I feel like this is, like, great drama, lots of things going on, and I mean, back-to-back blind sides, I did not expect it. I expected last episode, like, Natalie to get out. I didn't expect Jeremy to go home like that, and then I expected to have Davy or Elizabeth out, and then we have Natalia out. It's crazy. It's great. I'm having a blast, and, yeah, this is a awesome 4 episodes so far. I'm really excited to see what's gonna happen next.
Watching it back, I'm most impressed that these episodes were so strong, even with someone quitting, someone being medevaced.
Oh
Like,
my gosh,
that's
so much thing
difficult
happened.
to make an episode with that. Just especially, I don't know, like, it's even despite that, these have been great episodes. So, I'm eager for to see where this goes and to see where this goes.
Yeah, I'm excited for more.
Fantastic. All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in this week, and join us next week as we continue our journey through David versus Goliath. Until then, and until we speak again, ciao.